مباركة الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قال: سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت: دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال: السلام عليك يا فاطمة. فقلت: عليك السلام. قال: إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له: أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف الرقل. فقال: يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال: يا أماه، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أماه، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه، والسلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال: يا فاطمة، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. فقلت نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له: وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء، ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت: السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء، فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء، أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال: اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مذيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل: يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم، قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرأك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مذيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء، فقال لأبي: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: قل إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم فالذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. سورة مباركة الفاتحة.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على Maulana Sahib, my elders, brothers, invited guests, the groom, for the people who are getting married in the next few days. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have gathered here tonight for this Friday weekly Majlis that we have at this venue. And it also happens to be the Shurwate Shadi, the Majlis, which kicks off the wedding ceremonies with people getting married in the coming week, inshallah. So I thought of taking up a discussion which hopefully will be beneficial for a reminder for primarily myself, but inshallah all those who are here, and if the grooms who are present, if the grooms who are present here, hopefully it will be useful for them too, inshallah, for their marriages. When we look around us with an attentive eye, this is a habit that we are losing very fast. After the coming in of mobile phones, what has happened is our view, our eyesight is always on our phones, and rarely do we have a habit of looking around us, where we can have plenty of lessons that Allah has set for us. So if a person was to look around, the first thing that would catch his eye would be the high structures. If you were to look at the skyline, what would catch your eye would be the high structures, the high rises, the skyscrapers. Not only that, but if you're living in a place which has been blessed with mountains, for example. So if you were living in Arusha, for example, and if you were to look around, the first thing that would catch your eye would be Mount Meru, a city that has been planned brilliantly on the foots of Mount Meru. So Mount Meru would catch your eye. If you were living in Moshi, you would have Mount Kilimanjaro. If you were living in Morogoro, you would have the Uluguru ranges. Dar es Salaam, unfortunately, we are not blessed with those structures. We have the sea, but it's something that's not visible from everywhere. But what we see is the high-rise buildings, the man-made structures. So NSSF, PPF, PSPF, and so many buildings that have come up. So those are the things that catch our eyes. So the first secret of a successful building or of a high-rise or of a mountain is strong foundation. That is one. You must have heard of the concept a white elephant. Concept of a white elephant in English. So have you ever seen a white elephant? Has anybody seen a white elephant here? Elephant is one of the largest animals, largest mammals. And the color of an elephant is gray, be it an African elephant or an Indian elephant. They're usually gray in color. Rarely would you see a white elephant. So what does a white elephant mean? White elephant is an expression. It's a possession that is useless or troublesome, expensive to maintain or difficult to dispose. You put up a 10-story building or a 15-story building, but you can't maintain it. You don't get tenants. It's very difficult to sell the property, very difficult to dispose that property. So it's just standing there. We are fortunate to have buildings like this in Dar es Salaam also. The buildings that are just standing there. Nobody wants to go and live there or work there. It's called a white elephant. So in Gujarati we say barkat nathi. Building che, but barkat nathi. There is no barkat in this building. It's because of the greed or the corners that were cut or cheating that happened during the building, and it has resulted in a building in which there is no tranquility. Shanti nathi, barkat nathi. That's what we say. So now it's not only a physical dimension, but there's something extra, maybe a metaphysical component. So I know of architects here in Dar es Salaam who walk around with pendulums. So when they design your house, they come with a pendulum and they look at the magnetic forces. And in Islamic architecture also we have it. So we are told your toilets should not be facing Qibla. That is one of the sources of misfortunes in the house. Your toilet should not be facing Qibla. This architect, I was fortunate to sit with him, and he says when you sleep, so your bedroom should not be facing north. It should be east-west. Only then will you sleep well. You have to have a room where studies are going to happen for your kids. That should be in a specific area. You should be exposed to the sun. So electromagnetic waves and also the physical environment. So you have the physical, which is foundation, and then you have the metaphysical things that also determine the success of a building. They also say pillars, for example. When you have pillars in a building, somebody had come to my clinic and they saw me putting my dustbin next to the pillar. He says, pillar is the foundation of the building. There's a lot of positive energy there. Don't put your garbage can there. You are destroying the positive energy within the clinic. So these are theories and they work. So Quran talks about this concept of a building. Quran mentions it in Surah Tawbah, verse number 107. It talks about Masjid Quba, the first mosque that was built in Medina. So it had a lot of barakah, people would go and pray there. Then the Munafiqeen came together and they built another mosque called Masjid Zurara, which was equally good as far as looks were concerned. And they invited the Prophet that, why don't you come and pray in our mosque? And the Prophet agreed. But he says, I am on an expedition going to Tabuk. On my way back, I'm going to pray in this mosque. When he's coming back, God gives him instructions that don't pray in this mosque. It's a mosque, but you should not be praying in it. In fact, we are told that Prophet sent at least 3 people to go and burn down the mosque. The mosque was eventually destroyed, Masjid Zurar. So I don't want to talk about these mosques. That's not my intention. But verse number 109, the next verse, it's very interesting. Surah Tawbah, verse number 109 says, أَفَمَنْ أَسَّسَ بُنْيَانَهُ عَلَى التَّقْوَى مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرِضْوَانٍ خَيْرٍ أَمَّنْ أَسَّسَ بُنْيَانَهُ عَلَى شَفَا جُرُفٍ هَارٍ فَانْهَارَ بِهِ فِي نَارِ جَهَنَّمَ وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Allah is putting up a comparison. He says, is he who founds his building, bunyan. Bunyan is a building. Is he who founds his building on God-wariness, on taqwa, and ridwanullah, is this building better, or a building that has been built on shafa and juruf? Shafa is the edge of a well. Juruf is the edge of a valley that has been created by a river passing. So if a river passes through an area, the river bank would make something like a valley. The edge of the valley is very weak. So a building that is built on that edge, so Allah says a building that is built with taqwa and ridwanullah, is that more stable, or a building that has been built on the edge of a valley, which would fall, not only would the building fall, but it would fall with the builder. فَنَهَارَ بِهِ فِي نَارِ جَهَنَّمَ. And it would not fall on the ground, but it would fall into the fire of hell. وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. God will never guide the wrong-doing lot. We recite, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Allah says, I will not guide you. We recite, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم at least 10 times. Allah says, I will not guide you. So he's talking about a parable of 2 buildings here. One that is built on taqwa, whose foundation is taqwa and ridwanullah, and the other one which is built with hypocrisy. It's like building on the edge of a valley which is weak, which could fall anytime, not on the ground, but it would fall into the fire of hell. So now it is creating another dimension altogether. We talked about the physical dimension, which was the foundation. We talked about the electromagnetic forces. We talked about other theories. Now Allah is taking it even higher. What is the intention of the builder? When he's putting up a building, the intention of the builder also matters. Niyat su che jara mein building bande che tyare. What is our intention? And Allah says, is it taqwa and ridwanullah, or is it hypocrisy? And then verse number 110, Allah says, لا يزال بنيانهم الذي بنوا ريبة في قلوبهم إلا أن تقطع قلوبهم والله عليم حكيم. The building that they have built, that is the flimsy building, the building that they have built will never cease to be a source of conflict in their hearts, a source of disquiet in their hearts, until their hearts are cut into pieces. And Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. So the building will stand, even if it's on flimsy ground, but there'll be no source of sukoon in the hearts of people who are living in that building. Building there are some houses which have dark spots. You go into them, there is no sukoon in that house. Allah says because the intention of the builder was wrong. So obviously he's talking about Masjid al-Quba and Masjid al-Zurar. But this example can be applied to so many things in our life. So the applications. Number one, application of this verse. There's a conflict going on just now in occupied Palestine between the Israelis, the Zionists, and the Palestinians. We should mention this conflict as and when we get an opportunity. In our salat, in our du'as, we need to pray for these Palestinian people. In a joyous occasion like this, we should not forget the people of Palestine. So if we were to apply this example, you look at the state, so-called occupied state of Israel, 75 years old now. But it's like a building that is very flimsy. Sayyid Hassan Nasrullah calls it Baytul Ankabut. It's a spider's web. And there is no shanti in their hearts. 75 years now. They have everything, state-of-the-art technology, medicine. They are the pioneers of the weapon industry, of the medical industry, of the IT industry. You name it. And if you see the buildings, state-of-the-art in Tel Aviv, in Haifa, in Eliad, but there is no sukoon in their hearts. The people living there are not at peace. And it's very evident. The first chance they get, and they want to leave. On the other hand, you look at this small state of Palestine, nothing, bombed, people are dying, people are malnourished, people are starving, yet if you listen to the doctors who are going there, there was an interview by Dr. Haifa from the US, she had gone to serve there. Or in the first days of the conflict, Emily Callahan, who was a nurse, an American nurse, when she came out of Gaza, she was asked, would you go back to Gaza? And she says, in a heartbeat. She says, I'm in the US, but my heart is in Gaza. So a place where there is nothing, there is war, there is starvation, but there is sukoon in the heart. There is calmness in the heart. This is what this verse is talking about. They have built their houses and their environment with taqwa and ridwanullah. The hospitality of the Palestinians, the doctors talk about it, it will bring tears to your eyes. With all that they are going through, but there is no compromise in their hospitality, in their faith in Allah. Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. Strongly attached to Allah, there is sukoon. On the other side, you have a building, 75 years old, but no sukoon. This is the first application. Second application, there's a hadith from the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In this hadith, Holy Prophet is talking about a building. He's also talking about a building, and a building that Allah loves. What is a building that Allah loves? Listen to the hadith. He says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله ما بني في الإسلام بناء أحب إلى الله عز وجل وعز من التزويج. He says there is no institution, there is no building, again, bunyan. There is no institution in Islam more beloved and dearer to Allah than the building of marriage. This institution of marriage is Allah's favorite building. Allah loves this building. So if it is a building, Allah loves it, and we are given the responsibility, we are given the free choice of implementing or building this building, to put up this building. Obviously, we need to be careful about the foundation. If the institution of marriage is a building, its foundation is paramount. Without the foundation, it will be like a building which is on the edge of a valley, juruf, and it could fall, and it will fall into the fire of hell. We see the divorce cases that come to us in the marriage board. When a divorce is happening, when you hear the words of the husband and wife and of the parents, it's nothing but inviting themselves to the fire of hell. The words that they use, the abuse that they use, the exposure of secrets. This building of marriage is falling, and it is falling into the fire of hell. What was the problem? How do we stabilize the foundation of this institution? It starts early. It starts with spouse creation, not spouse selection, but spouse creation. When the time of marriage comes, the boy will start looking for a spouse, for a girl who is muttaqi, and who is well-mannered, and who has good akhlaq, and who is educated. But he forgets to put a mirror in front of himself. Does he have these qualifications to deserve a wife like that? So it doesn't start with spouse selection, it starts with spouse creation. The individuals, the youngsters who are sitting here, they need to start working on themselves. From the time they attain bulugh, they need to start working on themselves. I want to become a good spouse for my better half. Even before he's engaged, I want to be a good person. So the foundation of marriage starts then. Then spouse selection. At the time of marriage, spouse selection. So you have improved yourself. Now you're looking for a spouse. There's a hadith from our Holy Prophet again. He says, he who marries a woman solely for her beauty will not find anything he likes in her. The concept of love marriages, love at first sight, that I saw her for the first time and my heart stopped beating. We hear these phrases. And if you see the songs, movie songs, English or Hindi, what it's doing is it's just churning these feelings within us. If you listen to it, that is how you start thinking. Then I need to look for somebody who's exceptionally beautiful. The hadith says, if you marry her just for her beauty, you will not find anything that you like for yourself in her. She will disappoint you. He who marries her for her wealth will be deprived of it as soon as he marries her. So you marry somebody for your wealth, this is a hadith. If you marry a woman because of her wealth, she's from a wealthy family, Holy Prophet says that wealth will leave your hands as soon as you get married. So then Prophet says, so look to marry women of faith. If you're looking for a spouse, look at taqwa. Look at a woman who is God-fearing, who has taqwa of Allah, and vice versa. So this is spouse selection. The way the world is just now, the movies, the media, it is promoting this concept of love marriage. I'm not saying all love marriages don't work out. But what will happen is it won't be able to take you to the heights that Allah wants you to go. وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. That's the goal. We want to be Imam al-Muttaqeen. Love marriages, not all of them fail, but it will fail to take us to those heights. Yes, if the reason for love was taqwa, it's a different story. Or for those who are married, love marriages, they need to look back at their aqaid. They need to look back, take a U-turn, stabilize, put those roads in their aqaid, stabilize the foundation and start afresh. Why not? But for the youngsters, this is a lesson. This Prophet's hadith is very important. So spouse creation, spouse selection, this is a foundation of marriage. Then come the marriage ceremonies. When we get married, we want this to be the most unique marriage, the most expensive marriage. The expenses in marriage, if they're not rightful expenses, if they're not valid expenses, the foundation of marriage. People spend so much. I know for marriage, $500,000 was spent in the marriage. $500,000 in the marriage. It did not last even 6 months. So much money, it did not last even 6 months. Allah is all knowing, is all hearing. He is watching. Marriage ceremonies, how much do we spend lavishly? Isn't there a better place to put our money? Why can't we make it simple? Why can't we go to the wajibat only and a little bit of mustahab? I'm not saying don't buy clothes. They are starting their life afresh. But why so many expenses? So this is another foundation, number 3. Number 4, halal rizq after marriage. So the boy who's getting married or the girl, these days women also work, are they bringing halal rizq into the family? If the rizq is not halal, it weakens the foundation. This building of marriage will fall and it will fall into the fire of hell if the rizq is not halal. Number 5, honoring and respecting your spouse after marriage. This is a foundation of marriage. Justice after marriage. Are you giving the rights that a husband and wife are demanding or they deserve? This is another foundation. Hijab after marriage. Hijab is not only the covering for ladies. Hijab starts with eyes. So the eyes for the man and the woman, looking at na-mahram after getting married, it's haram even before marriage. But we do it after marriage, it weakens the foundation of our marriages at home. And that building is going to fall. So hijab of the eyes, hijab of the covering. Unfortunately, hijab is being compromised in our women. And that is one of the reasons our marriages are failing. The vessel is leaking and it is bound to fail. So a marriage that is built on wrong foundations. We've mentioned all these foundations and there may be more. If it's built on the wrong foundation, لا يزال بنيانهم الذي بنوا ريبة في قلوبهم إلا أن تقطع قلوبهم. The building that they have built, this building of marriage, will never cease to be a source of disquiet in the hearts. Allahu Akbar. ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها. The main purpose of marriage is sukun. Allah says if your foundation is not right, this building of marriage will never cease to be a source of disquiet in the heart. It's always going to be a source of conflict in the heart. So we need to be careful. We need to stabilize this foundation. So my advice to myself on this night and all of us who are married, but especially to the grooms who are getting married and to the youngsters, inshallah, who will get married. You need to work on the foundation of this favorite building of Allah. The best foundation is taqwa, God mindfulness, and ridwanullah, the pleasure of Allah. If our marriage is built around taqwa and around ridwanullah, the happiness of Allah, it's not what I want or what she wants, it's what Allah wants. If a marriage is built on these foundations, it can go high, higher than Burj Khalifa, higher than Everest. وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. No, it doesn't end here. وَحُورُ الْعِينٌ كَأَمْثَالِ اللُّؤْلُؤِ الْمَكْنُونِ. It doesn't end here. These are just the seeds. The fruits are going to be in Jannah in the form of Hurul Ain, which we are told that our spouses in this world, if you have been married happily and you've done justice to your spouse, she will be higher than the Huris in Jannah. Huris are nothing compared to your spouses in this world. If you have treated them well, and if you are a successful husband, if you put up this building well, you deserve more in the hereafter, inshallah. May Allah give us the tawfiq to be able to appreciate this, the importance of this building of Allah, this favorite building of Allah, which is marriage. And may Allah give us the knowledge of this foundation. May He give us the tawfiq to be able to work on this foundation, stabilize our marriages. If all our marriages are good, inshallah, we'll bring up a good society, inshallah. And we request the grooms, inshallah, on their marriage night to remember us in du'as, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalam.
سلوات. آپ پر درود اور سلام، اے میرے امام، اے میرے امام. آپ پر درود اور سلام، بس یہی صدا ہے صبح و شام، اے میرے امام. آ رہے ہیں آپ، چل رہی ہے یہ خبر، خانہ خدا پہ ہے تکی ہوئی نظر. سج رہے ہیں راستے تمام، اے میرے امام، اے میرے امام. آپ پر ہر نفس تجھے میرا سلام عرض ہے، میں تو کیا ہوں ہر نبی ولی پہ فرض ہے. دو جہاں میں تیرا احترام، اے میرے امام، اے میرے امام. آپ پر درود اور سلام، اے میرے امام، اے میرے امام. دو جہاں کی بادشاہ تیری ذات ہے، تو ہے اس کا ہاتھ جو خدا کا ہاتھ ہے. تیرے ہاتھ بیتی تمام، اے میرے امام، اے میرے امام. آپ پر درود اور سلام، اے میرے امام، اے میرے امام. اس لیے تمہارا انتظار ہے شدید، सर उठाए फिर रहे हैं वक्त के अजीज, आके उनसे लीजिए इंतकाम। ए मेरे इमाम, आप पर दुरूद है मेरे इमाम। खाना-ए खुदा को कैद से चुराइए, मौला जल्द आइए अब भी जाइए। लेके जुल्फ़िकार बेनयाम, ए मेरे इमाम, ए मेरे इमाम, आप पर दुरूद और सलाम। ए मेरे इमाम, इमाम, बस यही सदा है सुबह व शाम। ए मेरे इमाम, ए मेरे इमाम। सलवात।
أفضل السلام محمد وآل محمد. يا راكبا نحو المدينة قاصدا، بلغ سلامي للنبي محمد، وقل السلام عليك يا علم الهدى، أنت الدليل على الرشيد الأوحد، أنت الذي ورث النبوة والهدى، أنت الدليل لكل عبد مرشد، صلى الإله على النبي محمد، خير الأنام من فصحه والعجم، وعلى الوسي المجتبى والمرتضى، وعلى التقية والنقية فاطمة، وعلى الأولي الآثار من أولادهم، صلوا على القمر المنير الأمة، يا محمد يا أحمد يا أبا الزهراء أبا القاسم جد الحسنين يا أبا إبراهيم أحمد يا محمد مشفف في القيام من بي بالسلام زمزم والمقام حيدر يا إمامي أفضل السلام محمد وآل محمد علي يا ابن أبي طالب بيض الله وجهه
पाँच मनो मिल जहाद आदान अहबाद वाली ज़हरा वतन शबीर से ले इमाम ज़मान शबीर से ले इमाम ज़मान एक बेसदा सलावत परो सलावत सलावत के ओर बेनिज़ार को हर जो नबी है बुलंद सिफ़ात हुए सलावत सलावत सलाम या इमाम ज़मान फरमाओ हुज़ूर या इमाम ज़मान
السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا مولاي يا أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وأخيك العباس وأختيك زينب أم كلثوم السلام عليكم يا شهداء كربلاء جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا مولاي يا غريب الغرباء السلطان أبا الحسن مولانا علي بن موسى الرضا كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء وفقنا الله لزيارتك يا مولاي ورزقنا الله شفاعتك في الدنيا والآخرة السلام عليك وعلى آبائك الطاهرين وأبنائك المعصومين وعلى أختك فاطمة المعصومة ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا حجة الله يا ابن الحسن يا صاحب العصر والزمان سيدي الأمان والأمان والأمان من فتنة الزمان السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن وشريك القرآن وكعبة الإيمان ومظهر الإيمان وإمامنا وإمام الإنس والجان عجل الله لك ما وعدك من النصر وظهور الأمر ورحمة الله وبركاته